for the attainment of the ultimate goal of human existence called moksha in the Vedic scriptures, one can choose any one of the two lifestyles. There is a choice in the lifestyle, but the goal remains the same. One lifestyle is the grihastha lifestyle, the lifestyle of a family person. And the other lifestyle is the lifestyle of renunciation, of withdrawal, which is called sannyasa lifestyle. In one strives to achieve the goal through activity. In the other, the person strives to achieve the goal through a life of seclusion, a life of renunciation. And the sadhanas, the disciplines, the spiritual disciplines are different for both the lifestyles, but the goal is the same. Yesterday, we were trying to understand that for a person who has chosen the grihastha lifestyle, what are the primary disciplines that one will have to follow in order to attain the goal of moksha? And moksha itself means attainment of permanent happiness and cessation of all sorrows once and for all. Nitya sukha prapti and atyantika dukkha nivrutti. This is moksha. Everybody, knowingly or unknowingly, aspires to achieve this goal. For want of knowledge as to how one has to reach the goal, we see people hankering here and there, but everybody ultimately is striving for the same goal. So then, how should a grihastha go about in order to proceed in the direction of the goal? And we saw that a person who is self-centered, a person who is utterly selfish, one who has too much of focus or attention on one's own body, one who has intense self-love or self-attachment, such a person will have to render the mind selfless, for which one will have to strive to expand the mind. The mind has to expand to such an extent to include more and more people within its fold. And for that, our Shastras have prescribed certain compulsory noble acts which are to be performed by every grihastha. And those are called the Panch Maha Yajnas. Yesterday we were talking about the Panch Maha Yajnas. There are 5 levels at which every grihastha has to compulsorily contribute. And what is the advantage? The advantage is that the mind expands, the mind is freed from the problem of raga dvesha, the problem of likes and dislikes. A mind is freed from impurities such as the Shadripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsalya. All types of emotional problems. Apart from these scriptural duties, a grihastha has to fulfill duties in many more spheres. For example, you have to live a life primarily fulfilling even your personal duties. There are duties towards one's own self. Because if we have got this invaluable human birth, it is not enough that we pursue just the goals of artha kama, that is the pursuit of wealth and the pursuit of sense pleasures. The Shastra talks of 4 goals, 4 human goals. They are called purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Out of which majority of the people these days, they pursue just artha kama purusharthas. That is, they live for the accumulation of wealth and possessions. Their life is primarily focused for the pursuit of artha purushartha, that is in earning and amassing wealth and possessions. And once you have accumulated sufficient wealth, then the next purushartha that people are interested in is kama purushartha, that is the pursuit of sense pleasures. Now the Shastra says that these artha kama purusharthas, they are the lower pursuits. People will also have to allot specific time of their life for higher pursuits, namely dharma and moksha purushartha. Only then it is a balanced life. Dharma purushartha means doing more and more of noble activities, living a life in agreement with the Vedic injunction, by which one earns more and more punyam. And what is punyam? It is a kind of currency. Just like when you are in America, then you have the currency of US dollar. If you go to any other country, there is some other currency. Similarly, for life after death, for the attainment of Svargaloka, for example, there you need a special currency. Your dollar does not come of use. There, in order to get pleasures, you will have to make use of the punya currency. So punya currency can be utilized, can be useful for life after death, to get better birth after death, and also to enjoy happiness in the present life. All the sukham, all the happiness, all the joys that you are now experiencing, it is the result of your past punya karmas, which is earned through dharma purushartha. And finally, you have moksha purushartha, which is the highest goal, which is to be achieved by a human being. And moksha purushartha is nitya sukha prapti and atyantika dukkha nivrutti. All this was explained by the Mahatma to that young man in the form of Upadesha, in the form of Vedic teaching. Now the person understood that I will have to live not only fulfilling my personal duties, but also duties towards the family. So depending upon your position and status in the family, you are a father or a father-in-law, a husband, a son. So depending upon your position and status, each one has certain family duties also to fulfill. Then you have social duties, duties towards the community. Whatever skill, whatever you possess, a part of it you will have to contribute for the betterment of the society in which you live, in one way or the other. Then we have national duties, and of course we talked about shastric duties which are prescribed by the scriptures. Now in doing so many duties, if a grihastha has to live one's life fulfilling so many duties, then the question is, which duty is to be given top priority? Because if I have to live for myself, for my family, for my community, for the society, for the nation, fulfilling shastric duties, then which duty is to be given priority? Karmas are divided into 3 types: sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. What are Sattvic karmas? Those karmas which you don't do for any personal gain. Those karmas which you don't do for any material benefit. That is, I want more wealth or I want to progress in life. Those karmas which are not done for any personal gain or material benefit, but in which more and more people are benefited. Karmas in which majority of the people are benefited are all Sattvic karmas. For example, you can contribute towards a freedom struggle. It's a Sattvic karma. You can make your contribution. When I say contribution, it is not just monetary contribution. It can be different types of contribution. You can contribute your time. You can contribute your energy. You can contribute your skill. You can contribute your knowledge. So you make a difference. You can contribute towards the building of hospitals. That is a Sattvic karma. Even contributing towards Annakshetrams, where you are helping the poor to live their lives decently, that is a Sattvic karma. Even organizing such spiritual lectures and programs, that comes under Sattvic karma. Why? Because more people, one person got the thought of organizing, but many more are benefited. So a karma in which more and more people are benefited, that is called Sattvic karma. Then what is Rajasic karma? Rajasic karma means actions that one does for one's personal benefit. And these karmas, whether the Shastra asks you to do or not, anyway you are going to do. Because they are for one's personal benefit, maximum you can extend the benefit to your family. So karmas that are done for me and my family, all those karmas, they fall in the category of Rajasic karma. And what is Tamasic karma? Actions which are beneficial to none. Those actions which are neither beneficial to the doer nor to anybody else. But they are done more out of for the satisfaction of one's ego, in order to hurt or harm the others. Actions which are done with a revengeful attitude. So you said this to me, so I will teach you a lesson. This is a Tamasic karma. To be a karma yogi, what should be the pattern of our karmas? That is the question. In order to be a karma yogi, the Shastra says that the Sattvic karmas are to be given top priority. In living one's life, Sattvic karmas are to be given top priority, which means you have to do more and more of Sattvic karmas. Initially, when you begin your life, you are probably doing more of Rajasic karmas, but as you proceed, the Sattvic karmas have to steadily increase. Rajasic karmas are to be kept only minimum, as many as are necessary or required. Rajasic karmas are also required. And like I said, anyway a person is going to do Rajasic karma because it is for one's personal benefit and the benefit of the family. So they should be kept minimum, as many as required. And what about Tamasic karmas? If we are into any type of Tamasic karma in Shastra, they are called prohibited actions, Nishiddha karmani. There are certain actions which are strictly prohibited by the Vedic scriptures. For example, Shuram na pibet. Don't drink alcohol. Leave alone drinking. Don't even smell alcohol. Kalanjam ma bhakshayet. Non-vegetarian food is strictly prohibited by our scriptures. Ma hinsyat sarva bhutani. Don't injure even the smallest, don't hurt or injure even the smallest of creatures. So these are all Nishiddha karmas, they are Tamasic karmas. What about Tamasic karmas, they are to be totally avoided. So don't say, Swamini, from the 1st of January, I will stop smoking or I will stop drinking. Don't say that. Don't wait for a muhurta. Don't wait for an auspicious time to give up tamasic karma. They are to be given up forthwith. This is what is called as proper actions. In Karma Yoga, one has to increase the sattvic karmas, one has to keep the rajasic karmas to the minimum, and one has to totally avoid the tamasic karmas. This should be the pattern of one's activity in life. Now we will see what is proper attitude. Because Karma Yoga can be simply translated as doing proper actions with proper attitude. And yesterday and up till now we have talked about proper actions. Now we will try to understand what should be the attitude. Because without the attitude, even if you are doing sattvic karmas, it may bring you punyam. Punyam is an invisible result. It is adrashta phalam. It may bring you punyam, but it cannot lead to chitta shuddhi or purification of the mind. And here, for the attainment of moksha, what we require is a healthy and pure mind. Yesterday we talked about it. So for that, we will have to inculcate a healthy attitude. And in inculcating a healthy attitude, 5 points will have to be remembered. There are 5 points which you have to remember and follow, not just remember. Some people will write notes and they will now and then read their notes and feel very proud that we are progressing spiritually, but these are points that people need to remember and follow. What are those 5 attitudes? In doing your kartavya karmas, now when I say kartavya karmas, I am talking of the duties that a householder has to fulfill. In doing your kartavya karma, the first attitude should be, I am doing this in accordance to the Lord's command. In Sanskrit, it is called Ishvara Agneya. So I am doing these duties only to obey the dictates of my Lord. In accordance with the Lord's command. This is one attitude. First I will mention the 5 attitudes and then we will discuss it a little. The second attitude which you need to inculcate is, I am doing these kartavya karmas by the strength and the power of the Lord. This is called Ishvara Shaktya or Ishvara Samarthyat. Samarthyam or Shakti, that is power. The third attitude is, I am doing this for the love of the Lord. I am doing the kartavya karmas to please the Lord. In Sanskrit it is called Ishvara Prityarthe. Priti means for the sake of the Lord. For the love of the Lord, to please the Lord. And the fourth attitude of a karma yogi is, I am doing these karmas as a worship of my Lord. It is called Ishvararpana Buddhya. Arpanam means worship. As an offering to the Lord. And the fifth attitude and the most important in order to live a happy life is, I will accept the results of my karmas with prasada buddhi. It is called Ishvara Prasada Buddhya. So whatever be the consequence of my actions, I will accept it as, I have no translation for the word prasad. In fact, there is no appropriate translation in English. Because if I translate it as gift or whatever I say, it will not be appropriate. It will nowhere be near the very concept of prasad. Maximum I can do for you is to change my pronunciation and say prasad. Ishvara Prasad Buddhya. Now we will look into each of these attitudes. The first attitude of karma yogi is, I am doing my duties in obedience to Lord's command. So I have been allotted, I have been assigned duties by the Lord. And it is in accordance with the Lord's command that I am doing these duties. I have been ordered by the Lord to play certain roles. Say the role of a father, the role of a husband, the role of a mother, the role of a wife. I have been entrusted certain duties and roles to be played in my life. And every grihastha has multiple roles. You have to play multiple roles. I tell you, it's not an easy task. Each one of you is a great actor. Because Lord has allotted several roles to every individual. So with reference to your father, you are the son. With reference to your children, you become the father. With reference to somebody else, you are the father-in-law. With reference to some other person, you are the brother. And so you play multiple roles. And apart from all those family duties, you also have your occupational and professional roles. And with each role, you have specific duties. But what is the attitude? All these duties are entrusted to me by the Lord. And in fulfilling the Lord's order, Ishvara Agnya, it cannot be that all duties are pleasant. In fulfilling your duties, there may be several duties which may not be so pleasant. There are duties which are not enjoyable. And when you have to fulfill those duties, it is a burden. Several times you experience boredom and fatigue. Not all duties will be pleasant. For example, the duty of looking after elderly parents. And particularly when the duties that you have to fulfill, they go on for a long period. Then it creates a considerable amount of stress, and that can have an ill effect even on the physical health. The duty of looking after sick people. There are some duties which are not so pleasant. So then what am I to do? Some people come up with very quick and easy solutions. What if we do only the pleasant duties? What if we just omit the unpleasant duties? That is not allowed by the scriptures. Because the very word kartavyam, no, it's a Sanskrit word, but it has that tavya pratyay. That itself shows that these are duties that are to be compulsorily done. So just because certain duties are unpleasant, you cannot say that I will omit those duties. Then what is the remedy? Because it causes boredom, it causes fatigue, it causes stress. So then what are we to do? The only remedy is, if duties are unpleasant, if they are not so enjoyable, then the only option left with you is to make them pleasant. Because you cannot avoid them, you have to make them pleasant. A lady was a nurse in the pediatric ward. And the whole day she's handling other people's babies. At the end of the day, she's totally tired and fatigued. But when she reaches home, her little child, her baby comes running into her arms. She lifts up the baby and she fondles the child and starts playing with the baby. So, is she not tired? We all know that when we do things for people whom we love, then we do not feel any duty is unpleasant. When you do something for someone you love, you do not feel anything is unpleasant or not enjoyable. A father comes home tired and the son says, "Oh Dad, the whole day you have been out, will you play a game of badminton with me?" And the father just removes the tie and keeps the bag aside and plays a game. Now he feels refreshed, rejuvenated. What happens to that that fatigue. It's all gone. So when you are doing duties for someone whom you love, you do not experience the burden. The karma yogi has the same attitude. The karma yogi has inculcated love for the Lord. And because of the love for the Lord, my beloved Lord has entrusted me with this duty, with this work, and so every duty is pleasant. Every duty is enjoyable. And this attitude of karma yoga, the mother seated here, they can appreciate better. Because in bringing up the child, the mother gives a good bath to the child, puts on fresh clothes and puts the child to sleep, and in no time the child soils the clothes, spoils the nappy, and the mother has to do the cleaning all over again. You mean to say it's a pleasant duty? But the mother still does it with lot of love, care and affection without complaining or cursing the baby. Why? Because she loves the baby. A mother does all the housework, all the menial tasks of cooking, of cleaning the house, of cleaning the utensils, even the toilet, cleaning the clothes. She does all these menial jobs, and that too throughout the lifetime. And please tell me, what is the salary that a homemaker mother gets? She is not even expecting any appreciation or praise. How is it that a mother is able to do such monotonous tasks throughout her life? The answer is because she does for the family. She loves her family. Similarly, the karma yogi has inculcated love for the Lord. And when you say, my beloved Lord has entrusted me with this duty, then no duty will be unpleasant. And God has given specific duties to each and every individual. There is nothing here in this creation, there is none in this creation who is purposeless. There is none who is useless or good for nothing. All of us, we have, depending upon our status and our position, each one has duties allotted by the Lord. Just like in the manufacturing of a car, there are several parts put together, but the manufacturer has visualized a specific purpose for every part. For example, the nut and the bolt. In several parts, there is a nut and the bolt, and the purpose of that nut and the bolt is to keep holding two parts together. And the nut bolt should know its duty well. Its function is not to rotate along with the wheel. Suppose the nut and the bolt does not know its duty and starts rotating along with the wheel, what happens to the vehicle? There will be a mechanical failure. Similarly, every organism, everything in this creation has its purpose. Lord has not created anything or anyone without a purpose. Whether it is a shrub or an insect or whether it is a human being. Everyone has certain purpose to fulfill. But we will have to know our duties well. People are jubilant when they get married. People celebrate the marriage, or when they become parents, they are extremely jubilant. But we will have to remember and to understand that along with this, all this celebration, we are now having additional duties. We will have to fulfill additional duties. I tell you, parenting is a huge responsibility. It's not an ordinary thing. We may be jubilant, we may celebrate, but parenting is a huge responsibility because you are bringing a life into this world, and now you will have to create a wonderful human being out of that helpless creature. For which, first of all, you will have to start living, both the mother and the father will have to start living a disciplined life. Unless and until your life is disciplined. Because the moment the so effective as non-verbal communication. Children right from their young age, they are observing because parents are their role models. And when they are too small, they think that parents are infallible. No, there is none like my mother, like my daddy and my mommy. And when you tell the child bedtime stories, normally we Indian parents, we talk about the truthfulness of King Harishchandra. Satyavadi King Harishchandra. And then you teach your child to be truthful always. But when the child sees you compromising with the value of truthfulness now and then in your interaction, the child loses trust, child loses faith. You are talking about fearlessness. You want your child to be fearless, but when the child sees for the first time that the mother comes out screaming out of the bathroom, why? Because she's seen a lizard and she's scared. The child loses trust. Oh, I thought my mother was infallible. And she is also fearful. And the macho father comes running. Why are you screaming? And the child sees that the father also is dodging the lizard, totally scared. And what lessons of fearlessness are we going to teach? We talk to our children about obedience, implicit obedience to parents. This is what we expect from our children. We talk to them and we tell stories about Lord Rama. Pitru Vakya Paripalanam. Just to obey the words of the father, Lord Rama, without the least resistance, was ready to go for 14 years into the forest. And when you tell all this to your child, and when the child sees that in your interaction with your parents, with the grandparents, suppose there is ill treatment or there is rude behavior, then what is the child going to learn? The child comes to understand that all these stories are just bedtime stories. They are stories to put me to sleep. But when it comes to behavior, I have to behave exactly as my parents are behaving. So parenting is a huge responsibility. As many roles that you have to enact, so many duties also will have to be fulfilled. But what should be the attitude? I am doing this in accordance with the Lord's command. It is my beloved Lord. Without bhakti, that is without devotion, nobody can become a karma yogi. I am doing this for the love of the Lord. I am obeying the command or dictates of my beloved Lord. This is first attitude. It's called Ishvara Agnyaya. Then the second attitude which you will have to follow is, I am fulfilling these duties by the power of the Lord, by the strength of the Lord, not by my own power. There are people who are doing their duties sincerely, and when they become successful, very often they become arrogant that I am doing all this multitasking that I do by my own ability, by my strength, by my own resources. Now this is the greatest misconception, because such an attitude becomes an obstacle on the path of spirituality. Then what is the right attitude? Shankaracharya ji, Adi Shankaracharya ji has written a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, and that commentary is called Bhashyam, Shankara Bhashyam. And in that Shankara Bhashyam, Shankaracharya ji talks about the right attitude of a karma yogi and says, Aham Ishvaraya Brityavat Karomi. Aham Ishvaraya Brityavat Karomi. Britya means servant. What should be the attitude of a karma yogi? I am the servant of the Lord. And so I obey the commands with the attitude that I am the servant of the Lord. You know, a king's servant. A king has a servant, a personal servant. The king's servant will be extremely obedient commands of the king. And so the king once summoned the servant and said, you go to the adjoining village and you build a dharmashala, a rest house for the guests. And so the servant went to the village with money from the treasury, from the royal treasury. By the king's strength and the resources, the servant goes to the neighboring village and all the villagers, they just glorify him. Oh, you are so great, you are so benevolent. You are doing a great service to us by building this dharmashala. And the servant knows very well that I am not the real benefactor. I am not doing it by my power. It is by the king's power and the king's strength, the king's resources, that I am simply obeying the king's command. This is exactly the attitude of a karma yogi in doing one's kartavya karma. In fulfilling your duties, you need power and strength. Who gives you that power? First of all, you need a healthy body. To be able to fulfill these varied duties, you need a healthy body. And who gives you the health, the body which is capable of functioning well? It is none other than Ishvara. He is the giver. He gives us a healthy body. A body which is capable of doing all duties. To fulfill your duties, you need wealth and resources. So who provides that? It is arrogant to think that it is my own ability. It is only by the power and strength provided by Ishvara. In doing your duties, you need the power of intelligence. So who gives you that intelligence? Even your intelligence is provided by Ishvara. And so this is the second attitude of a karma yogi. You remember the first attitude? I am doing my duties in obedience to the Lord's command. This is one attitude. The second attitude is, I am not doing my duties by my own strength, but I am doing these duties by the strength, by the power, by the resources provided to me by Ishvara. And what is the benefit of this attitude? The greatest benefit is, you will be free from fear and anxieties. Let's take the example of the king's servant. If the king's servant was building the dharmashala by one's own wealth, his own wealth, and if the cost escalates, what happens? The servant will be terribly anxious and worried. But now the servant knows that I am doing this only by the power, the resources provided by the king. So even if the cost escalates, there is no fear, there is no anxiety, there is no worry. Similarly, the karma yogi has the attitude that I am doing all these duties not by my power. Very often when we are confronted with difficult duties, you become diffident. You become dejected. How will I be able to fulfill all this? But when you know that I am doing by the Lord's strength, with the help of Lord's power and Lord's resources, then Lord's power is limitless. And there is nothing which is impossible for the Lord. There is no task which is stupendous. There is nothing which is insurmountable. Everything is possible with Ishvara Shakti. This is the second attitude. Then the third attitude of a karma yogi is, I am doing this to please the Lord. It's called Ishvara Prityarthe. I am doing for the sake of the Lord, to please the Lord. Very often in doing our duties, we try to please worldly people. We try to please each other. We are doing duties for mundane people. The karma yogi has the attitude that I want to please the Lord. For example, a husband is doing his duties to please the wife. And the wife is doing the duties to please the husband. And both are doing certain duties to please the children. And the children are trying to please the parents. So we try to please each other. And if the other person is pleased, it is fine. If not, you get saddened. You become sorrowful. You are dejected and frustrated. For example, a wife cooks for the husband. prepares dinner and she is waiting for the husband to arrive, and the husband arrives late and then refuses to eat because he has had a tiff with his boss in the office and so he is not in the mood to eat. So what would be the condition? And so the wife becomes unhappy. People become unhappy to the extent that they start entertaining unhealthy thoughts. Oh, I am doing so much to please him. I am doing so much to please him or her, and still the person is not pleased, and so what is the use of my doing duties? People even give up their kartavya karmas. Why? Because a person was doing the duty not for the sake of the Lord, not for the love of the Lord, but to please such worldly people. In Karma Yoga, you understand that I am doing this kartavyam for the sake of the Lord, to please the Lord, and so whatever is the response from the other people, the worldly people, you are not perturbed. Lord has entrusted me with this role, and so I am doing this to please my beloved Lord, and so I do it to the best of my ability. In playing your role well to please the Lord, you need not even put the blame on others, on the partner. The husband need not say that how can I play the role well for this woman? No, my wife is not proper, and so how can I play the role of a husband well for her? There is no tit for tat attitude in the life of a karma yogi, because you are not doing this to please any person. So there is no blaming the other person. If you are given the role in a drama, example, by a director, and suppose your co-actor, the person who is acting along with you, does not enact the role properly, so what are you supposed to do? Are you also supposed to spoil the role? You will say that no, I will do the role to the best of my ability because I have been given this role by the director and I will be rewarded. My director will be pleased with my role. I will be rewarded by the director. I don't have to be bothered about the co-actor. The co-actor may have limitations, but I do not have to spoil my role. And how to play your role well, we have plenty of guidance through our itihasas like Ramayana and Mahabharata. They are not just stories for our entertainment. They are stories which teach us how to play our role. There are different situations. Each character is put in a different situation and we are supposed to learn valid lessons from such itihasas. When you play your role well, Lord is pleased with you. This is the attitude of a karma yogi. It is called Ishvara Prityarthe Karma. I am doing it to please my Lord. Let us come back to the example of the king's servant. The king's procession was going to go from a certain route and the king's servant was asked to clean the whole road. But on that road was the house of his enemy. Now please tell me, will the king's servant clean the road in front of the enemy's house or not? Of course, the servant will. Why? Because the servant knows that this is work entrusted to me by my master, the king. And if I do my role well, if I do my duty well, king will be pleased with me and king will reward me. So the servant is not interested in pleasing or displeasing any mundane person. Similarly, the karma yogi has the attitude that if I please my Lord, I will be rewarded by my Lord. So this is the third attitude. I hope you remember all the attitudes. They are very important. Ishvara Agneya, Ishvara Shaktya, and the third is Ishvara Prityarthe. Priti means for the love of the Lord, for the sake of the Lord. The fourth attitude of a karma yogi is, I am doing this for the worshipping of the Lord. This is an offering. My karma is an offering. Just like when you go to the temple, you offer several materials. And whatever you offer in the temple has to be the best. You don't go and offer inferior things to the temple. For example, some flowers. They cannot be faded and withered flowers. You will offer fresh flowers when you have to offer it in the temple. Even if it is Bilva Patram, it has 3 leaves all connected to one stem. So the thing is, you have to offer leaves which are not damaged, which are intact. Even when we offer fruits, we buy the best fruits and offer to the temple. What is to be offered to the Lord has to be the best. Some people are so immature that when they have to offer to temples or when they have to give things in charity, they would buy things which are inferior. If it is for personal use, they want the best. But when it comes to giving in charity, they will go for things which are inferior in quality, in cost. And one such person went to a shop and said, "Please give me a dhoti." So the shopkeeper, gave the best dhoti, the best quality. And he looked at the price and he said, "This is too expensive. Do you have any other variety?" And the shopkeeper showed the next variety, a little less expensive. And again he looked at the price and said, "This also is a little more expensive. It's beyond my bounds. Can you show me any other variety?" And the shopkeeper showed him another variety. And he again looked at it and shook his head. Now the shopkeeper was irritated. And so he said, "Sir, please tell me what is the purpose for which you want to buy this dhoti?" And he said, "I want to offer it to the priest in the temple." And so the shopkeeper said, "You should have told me earlier. There is a special variety for the priest, and he gave him the dhoti, most inferior in quality. In one wash itself, it will be in tatters." So when you go to the shop, there are special materials for puja. Whether it is supari or any other material, they have a special category which is, the cheapest. People are so immature. When you have to offer to the Lord, it has to be the best. Now you are offering your karmas with the attitude that I am worshipping the Lord. So you cannot do an unrighteous, immoral act and offer it to the Lord. When you are offering your karmas, they have to be in accordance with the moral codes of conduct. You cannot do an adharmic act and say, "Shri Krishna Arpanamastu, Shri Brahma Arpanamastu." So you utter a lie. You do something wrong and then you offer it to the Lord. It is impossible. Whatever you offer, when there is an attitude that I am doing this karma as a worship, so I offer the best. This is called Ishvara Arpana Buddhya. Ishvara Arpana Buddhya. I am worshipping my Lord through my actions. And the Karma Yogi not only offers the actions but also offers the Karma Phala. Whatever consequences are received, even that is offered to the Lord. That is, you don't even claim ownership of the results. You don't say that I own the result. Whatever I do is for the benefit of my Lord, for the sake of my Lord. I will again go back to the example of the king's servant. The king's servant is asked to clean the bedroom. So prepares the bed, changes the bed sheet and the pillow cover and cleans the room. And so the benefit of the servant's effort is for whom? Can we say that the benefit should go to the servant and that the servant should sleep on the king's bed? He will be punished for that. Whatever effort is put in by the servant, it is for the sake of his master, the king. Similarly, the Karma Yogi offers not only the karma, but the karma phalam is also offered to the Lord. In other words, you don't claim ownership of the consequences of your actions. This is what is said in that very popular verse. People know the words of the shloka, but they don't understand the import. Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. I am interested in that line. Ma karma phala hetu. You don't become the owner even of the results of your actions. Even that is dedicated to the Lord. It's such a great idea. A non-karma yogi will claim ownership of the results and will get attached to the result. Whereas the karma yogi offers even the results to the Lord, and once you offer to the Lord, then it belongs to Ishvara. You offer the actions as naivedya, and whatever came back to you in the form of karma phalam, that becomes prasada. So when you don't claim ownership over the result, then you receive it as prasada. And once you offer it to the Lord, it belongs, everybody has a right to it. That is why when we go to the temple and we offer what is called naivedya, you offer several materials as naivedyam, and when it comes back to you, it has become prasada. So what change has occurred? It is only a change of attitude. The eyes will see the same object, but the mind sees it differently. Earlier you had the attitude that this is mine, I have prepared this naivedyam. It is mine, and once you offer it to Ishvara, it is no longer mine. Now it belongs to the Lord. Once it belongs to the Lord, everybody has a right to it. And that is why whatever prasad we get from the temple, we distribute it to people. We just don't keep it to ourselves. And this attitude a grihastha has to have with respect to everything, even the food that you cook in the house. And that is why in our tradition we are supposed to cook fresh food every day. Why? Food that is stored in the refrigerator or food that is stale cannot be offered to the Lord. When you offer naivedyam, it has to be freshly prepared. You are doing it for the Lord. And when food that is freshly cooked is offered to the Lord, now everybody has a right to it. It's not just me. And so, whoever comes knocking your door and is hungry, you give this food. You don't say that I have not prepared any food for you. It's all over. And that is why Upanishad also says, cook something more. There should always be something for you to give to others. And that is why we say Atithi Devo Bhava. Whoever comes knocking, whoever requires, you give. Why? It belongs to everyone. Earlier the attitude was, it belongs to me. Now you have offered it to the Lord, and so it is no longer mine, it belongs to the whole world. Everybody has a right to it. One person, when I was talking like this, said, Swamini, if we dedicate all our karma phalams to the Lord, then what is left for us? So what is left? If everything is to be dedicated to the Lord, then what is left for us? You need not worry, because of all the things that you offer to the Lord is not interested in taking anything out of it. And that is why we boldly offer. Whatever we cook, we place in front of the Lord, because suppose you prepare the payasam and Lord is going to drink all that payasam, we would be even smarter. We will only place a small quantity. But now we know that of all the things that we offer, Lord is not interested in taking anything. It is only your attitude. It is your bhavana. What is this prasada? Once you offer it to the Lord and then when you receive it, then that is called, it becomes prasada. Prasad is not any object. When you go to Tirupati Balaji, they give you, a laddu. And it has lots of dried fruits and it's a very rich prasada. Earlier it used to be so big, now it has become so small. But it's a rich prasada. If you go to Srinathji, there is a different type of prasada. So prasada is not any specific object. It could be holy water, it could be holy ash, it could be even one tulsi leaf. It is only your attitude. If you go to your friend's house and the friend wants to welcome you, so friend gives you a very beautiful fragrant flower, tell me what will you do with the flower? You will take it and smell it. And you will say, oh, it's fragrant, it's lovely. Now look at another situation. Your friend has a temple in the house, an altar of an idol of Lord Ganesha, and the flower is offered to to the Lord, and from there the friend picks up the flower and now offers it to you, please tell me, what will you do? You are a Vaidika. Will you smell it? Since it comes from the altar of the Lord, you will not smell it. Now your attitude changes. You will touch your eyes with that flower. Why? Now it is sacred. So, nobody receives prasada with spoiling the face. Prasada, you can never say, I don't like this. Even if a diabetic person is given a sweet, normally the diabetic person will very politely refuse that I am diabetic and my doctor has asked me not to take any sweets, and so please excuse me. But the moment you say that this is prasada from Tirupati or Srinathji, the person will receive it with lot of reverence. The word prasada itself means receiving with cheerful attitude. Prasadastu prasannata. So there cannot be any disregard for prasada. It is not an object, it is just your attitude. And this is a very, very important aspect to become a karma yogi, whatever comes to me. Which means even when unpleasant consequences come, even when unpleasant consequences, when pleasant things happen, it is very easy to have prasad buddhi. This is Lord's prasad. But when unpleasant situations come in our life, then we need to remember that Lord is our well-wisher. Even unpleasant situations are given to us only to help us to become better and more mature individuals. Because unpleasant situations have the capacity to teach you valid lessons. And you must have the maturity, the attitude to learn a valid lesson. Instead of saying that I am depressed and I am frustrated and rejected, that is not the Vaidika's attitude. And another thing is, whatever comes into our life is the result of our own actions. So if you are happy, if there are joyful experiences, it is the result of your punya karmas. And whenever sorrows come into your life, don't blame any external factor or some planet somewhere. It is the result of your own papa karmas. Even a small mosquito bite, the discomfort caused by a mosquito. Why so many people are seated here? Why did the mosquito have to choose you alone? It is the result of your papa karma. But we have our limitations. Our intellect is limited. It does not know the connection between the action and the result. And so what it does is, normally we try to connect the result with the immediate past karma. For example, a boy went to give some bread to the dog and the dog bit the boy. So then why did the dog have to bite that boy? The common answer would be because it went to feed the dog. So we try to connect the result with the immediate past karma. Now this is wrong. 6 days you have done puja. 6 days you have done all these devotional acts. Does that guarantee that you will be joyful and cheerful on Sunday, the 7th day? Not necessary. 7th day, something happens and you become sad and you connect. But 6 days I have been praying to the Lord and this is what I get. Do I deserve this type of punishment? And then people have unhealthy thoughts. So what is the use of doing all these pujas and parayanams? If I'm going to be, this is what God is going to give me, if this is the punishment I get for all the good karmas that I do, then let me give up all these karmas. Which means what? You try to go and help a person selflessly and the person is not in the mood of taking your help and insults you. So you connect that selfless act with the insult. And then you say, in Kali Yuga, good actions have no place at all. And so let me give up all these good actions. This is the limitation of the intellect. The karma yogi understands that whatever I get in my life is the result of my past karma. But I cannot know the connection between as to which karma has given me the result, which result and when. We cannot know the connection. So what are we to do? It could be the result of your karma done the previous day, the previous week, or previous month, or previous year, or several years before, or even past janmas. And since we don't know the connection, what is the attitude we need to have? Whatever be the consequence, I will receive the result with utmost reverence and with a cheerful attitude as receiving prasada from my Lord. This is a very important aspect for a karma yogi, and this is the fifth attitude. So, when one does one's duties, fulfilling these 5 types of attitudes, obeying these 5 attitudes, then what happens? The whole life becomes a worship. The whole life becomes a spiritual sadhana, and slowly the mind becomes more and more mature. And such a mind does not see any situation as a problem. A situation is only a situation. Even the most difficult situation will call for a specific response. Every situation has a specific response expected of you. But no situation is a problem. The karma yogi does not see any situation as a problem. A non-karma yogi converts all situations into problems. And that is why when we meet each other, we say, how's life? So in the Western world, sometimes I'm surprised. People don't say that it's all good, not too bad. So why don't you say that it's good? And then people tell each other their problems. Why? We are experts in converting situations, life situations into problems. In fact, no situation is a problem if you are a karma yogi. It could be a difficult situation which requires a certain response from your side, but a karma yogi simply accepts the situation and does whatever is expected of him or her. So the attitude of karma yoga is a beautiful attitude to make your life problem-free. Our topic was problem-free life, the grihastha way. And so in living our life, our prarabdha, our past karmas will definitely bring difficult situations, and yet with this type of attitude, you grow inwardly. Slowly the mind becomes purer, the mind becomes more and more eligible for the next stage of sadhana. And the next stage of sadhana is the attainment of self-knowledge, for which one goes through a profound, very in-depth study of the scriptures, tries to understand one's higher nature and own up one's Chaitanya Swarupam, and only through Jnanam one attains moksha. And moksha means eternal happiness, permanent happiness and peace and cessation of all sorrows once and for all. And this is the ultimate goal of our human existence. It is not only we Vaidikas, this is relevant for every person, but we are fortunate because we have the highest scriptures and we have all the guidance. And in spite of all the guidance, if we do not study, we do not expose ourselves to the scriptures, to the scriptural teachings in our lifetime, it's truly a tragedy. But I am very pleased that I got the opportunity to share some of the sublime teachings of our Vedic scriptures with this august audience here. And I hope, like I said, that Brahma Yajna is a compulsory duty of every Vaidika. So little bit of scriptural study in one form or the other is compulsory for every individual, and it goes a long way in living a very happy and peaceful life. And this is only a permanent solution to life's problems. All others are just, intermediary, temporary solutions. We look for a lot of temporary solutions, but our scriptures have provided a permanent solution. And so I pray to the Lord that Lord gives all of us the strength and the devotion, the bhakti, to understand the scriptures and to live our life in accordance to the Vedic injunctions. We will do a small Shanti part and then we will continue. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari